phone, so I wasn't planning on doing this. But I figured, uh, since I gave an example, or since I read from the religious lay leader handbook on what my roles and responsibilities and qualifications were, I figured it would be a good idea to to share my two times I got in trouble. So when I was out of my 5 years in the Marine Corps, four of them I was working with the the religious command, um, in the Marine Corps. While I was in the Marine Corps, but obviously it's associated with the Navy. And out of those 4 years, they gave me 6 months of dedicated service. So I detached from my Marine Corps duties and spent 6 months attached to the Navy to be an official, sort of like certified, whatever, religious lay leader. And during this time, I had two times I got in trouble. So, the first time I got in trouble, and this is a like, not neither time had anything to do with theology. Not like the me working with different denominations theologically. I never had any problems. Nobody said I was saying anything wrong or doing anything wrong in that regard. It had to do with command structure, military stuff. The first one, and the most interesting story, I was going to I was going to the Marine Corps Exchange, which is kind of like the store, for something. I had to pick something up. And my commander, that I reported to, since I was attached now to the Navy, I think I was a E3 at the time, a Lance Corporal. I don't think I was a corporal yet. Man, what was I? Was I a corporal? I don't know if I was a Lance Corporal or corporal at the time. I don't remember. I could have been promoted shortly after, somewhere in there. But anyways, what happened was, a sergeant comes up to me, and the sergeant says, First Sergeant so-and-so wants you to report to him. Now, First Sergeant is almost as high as you can go, right, as rank is in the Marine Corps. But I reported directly to an 06, an officer of the 6th level. That not only am I reporting to an officer, but I'm reporting to a commander. And so that's significantly higher than normal. So I'm like, look, I understand that's what the first sergeant wants, but I can't. I report to the 06, and what I'm carrying out right now is for my direct commander. Now, of course, this individual was not processing this correctly, because they were thinking I'm a Marine, enlisted Marine, refusing a lawful order to a higher ranking enlisted Marine. Instead of the sergeant thinking, she decided to, swear at me, cuss at me in public, and tell me I'm refusing a lawful order. Like, no, I'm a direct to an officer level 6. I report directly to an 06. So you have to go to 06 and tell them that I am disregarding their lawful order. And so what ends up happening is I go back and I tell my commander, he's in the Navy, commander in the Navy, what's going on. And he's like, okay, well, these enlisted people, they like to be their ego stroked or whatever, and if he says anything, then we'll handle it from there. So sure enough, he calls up my commander, and he's like, I want him to come down, and I'm going to tell him that, he needs to listen to me and something. So my commander agrees to this. And before I leave, he goes, listen, just stand there. Just listen to whatever he says. Just say, yes, First Sergeant, and then move on. Because You got to give them the respect, whether or not you're right or wrong. And so we're going to just send you over there to give you the respect he deserves as a first sergeant. And so, I didn't do anything wrong. I stuck to my guns that I report directly to an 06. And if they want me to go to a first sergeant, not in my chain of command, they have to go to the 06 and get him to release. And that's what they did. They ended up getting me to release to him. So I go over there, and this first sergeant has his buddy, who's a master sergeant, sitting on the couch. He's sitting on the couch. And they must have been practicing or something. Because I come in there and said, First Sergeant, you know, I was told to report to you. I'm here as reported, you know, reporting as ordered. And he's like, lock yourself up, put yourself in attention, don't eyeball me. So he started acting like a drill instructor. I'm like 155 pounds maybe at the time. I'm 185 now, but I was a little smaller then. And I don't know, he must have been maybe 6 foot. He's about the same height as me, not much taller than me, and 200 something. Big black guy. And he's like yelling at me, First Sergeant yelling at me in my face. He's screaming, and he's like, you're just a little white noodle. You're so pathetic. Look at you. When a first sergeant in the Marine Corps tells you to come, you come no matter what. Do you understand me? And I'm like, yes, First Sergeant. And he's like, do you understand me? If I ever have to bring you back in here, you will be court-martialed so fast. I'm like, yes, First Sergeant. And he took everything I had not to eye roll him. Because as soon as he gets any sense that I'm just, patronizing him, I'm going to get in trouble. I mean, he swore at me, called me all sorts of crazy names. I really think he practiced before I came, because it was just streaming out like he was flowing, like he was rapping. And so, at the end of all that, he dismisses me, and I go back to my commander and I debrief what happened. And my commander's like, well, what you did is the right thing, because although you did nothing wrong and you did report to me, and you report directly to me, we had to give him his pound of flesh, because he is a first sergeant, and we need to satisfy him some way. So that was it. So I got in trouble because I followed the correct procedure of the chain of command, not giving in to the pressure of a sergeant or first sergeant trying to tell me what to do when really I had no business telling me what to do. It kind of goes like it's the same thing for like if something's classified, right? Like you might have the right security clearance for classified data, but do you have a need to know? So like something could be top secret, and I have a top secret clearance. Yeah, but you might have a top secret clearance. That doesn't mean you get access to everything top secret. Do you have a need to know? Well, it's the same thing with rank. Like, yeah, you sure might outrank me, but do you have a need to command me? Well, if you do, you got to convince the person who actually commands me of that fact. Do you have a need to know? Do you have a need to command? So then you can't just tell me to go over there. That was the first time I got in trouble. As a religious, again, nothing to do with theology, everything to do with the command structure. On a similar note, I had to come to morning muster. I think morning muster, when I was working at the command chapel was like 9 in the morning, so that wasn't bad. It was pretty laid back because it is the Navy, so it's kind of cool. But I showed up, I think, like 9:15. I think it was 15 minutes late. Anyways, this chaplain, she, noticing a pattern here between the first story and the second story. The chaplain who I report muster into, she was new there. Like, I think she was maybe an 02. I want to say she was an 02. I don't think she was an 03. I think she was an 02. So there's O1 and O2. So it's pretty much at the bottom, right? And she's new there, so I think she had something to prove. And I was like 15 minutes late. And she's a chaplain. She's supposed to be a religious leader, right? And I'm 15 minutes late from muster, and she's like, "You need to show up when you're expected to show up. 9 o'clock, not a minute late. Blah blah blah." She's all yelling at me, and I'm like, well, ma'am, I mean no disrespect. I am always on time, if not early. However, I am deaf in my right ear, and I accidentally must have rolled over on my good ear. And when I rolled over my good ear, my alarm went off. I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it on time, and so I woke up without my alarm. I didn't hear my alarm, or maybe my alarm didn't go off. But that's most likely what happened. I'm deaf in my right ear, and when I said I'm deaf in my right ear, the look of shock on her face, like she realized she just yelled at a hearing impaired Marine. She's like, why don't you show up? You have no excuse. And I literally have a valid medical excuse why I can miss an alarm, I mean, I was never late before, and I was never late after. She just had to lay into me for some reason that one day. It was the day that I didn't hear my alarm. And so that's it. So those are the 2 times I got in trouble as a religious lay leader when I was detached for 6 months from my Marine Corps duty into naval duty, chaplain duty. And again, nothing to do with theology, nothing to do with any denominational issues, nothing like that. It was strictly command structure, which naturally is kind of confusing because I'm a Marine, balancing the authority of the Navy and the Marine Corps. So that's it. I figured I'd share that to give some contrast to the other video. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.